If you're a lineman in charge of keeping the lights on, Grainger understands that you go to great lengths and sometimes heights to ensure the power is always flowing, which is why you can count on Grainger for professional-grade products and next-day delivery, so you have everything you need to get the job done. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This episode is brought to you by Dogfish Head Craft Brewery. The Grateful Dead and Dogfish Head have gotten the band back together with the release of Grateful Dead Juicy Pale Ale, a light-bodied pale ale brewed with sustainable kernza grains, granola, and heaps of good karma for a refreshing brew that's music to your taste buds. Available nationwide, visit dogfish.com to find Grateful Dead Juicy Pale Ale in your neck of the woods. Dogfish Head Craft Brewery is located in Milton, Delaware. Please drink responsibly.
Welcome to Farm Here Daily, a Field Forward podcast. I'm your host, David Geiger. Today on Farm Here Daily, we're spending more time at the fair, wandering around, hearing what has to be said over there. Please be sure to like and follow the podcast as well as our social media at Field Forward Pod. We would love to have you join our community, keeping folks informed about what is affecting our farmers. This is Farm Here Daily. And joining me on Farm Here Daily, we're going to go over some livestock insurance conversations with Tony Latcham. And Tony's with me at the Iowa State Fair. Tony, thank you so much for joining me on Farm Here Daily. Before we talk about insurance, though, you've been doing some fun stuff this week with the Blue Ribbon Foundation. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah, David. So appreciate you interviewing us here today. We're on the historic Iowa State Fairgrounds and sitting in the Blue Ribbon tent area and talking this over. And yes, we volunteer for the Blue Ribbon Foundation. We do work here, and they are responsible for all of the build out of the fair, the new roofs on buildings, all the way to the new buildings that are being built. It's a way for people to donate to the fair to keep these historic grounds going and keep these buildings up. And so we donate our time, my wife and I, Joy, and we have a blast. We get to drive members around the fairgrounds on a golf cart, getting them to and from wherever they need to go. And we get to meet a lot of people and spend time at the fair, which is where we love to be.
Folks are walking around all week, and I, for one, have appreciated a lot of the newer sidewalks and very updated buildings as well. What do you think is kind of your favorite update you've had and seen in the last couple of years?
Oh boy, I love to see that they're now fixing up all the livestock barns. It was time. We have new roofs on all of those barns, but it was time. They started working on the sheep barn, the horse barn, and the cattle and hogs are next. And that's the heartbeat of our fair: the livestock judging, the livestock showing, the kids, the 4-H, the FFA. And so they're going to get a payback here in the next couple years, and it's going to be really neat. And so that's what I love to see. Yeah.
Tony, speaking of livestock side of things, we're going to talk a little bit about insurance as well. And many folks will have heard about crop insurance. That's pretty common knowledge, but livestock insurance is something I've hardly ever heard mentioned. You started up something. Can you tell me a little bit about your business and what you guys are doing in the livestock space?
Yeah, so livestock insurance is a lot like crop insurance. It just doesn't have the yield component. But we can use it, producers use it to guarantee themselves a price on cattle or hogs. And so it's not new. It's been around since the early 2000s, but the government, USDA, stepped in and they started putting a higher subsidy towards this, kind of like crop insurance. They'll pay up to 50% of the premium and have made it more usable for producers. And so what we did is we have a pretty large clientele list that use it actively, and we try to make it easier. So livestock insurance comes out once a day. Okay, so the USDA publishes LRP rates once a day. And instead of them calling us or us calling all of our customers every single day to get them quote updates, we built software around that system. And so every day at 4 o'clock, you can go in there and click on our portal and find a new quote for the day. You can actually order from that system as well. And then you can track whatever coverages you have on, what animals you have covered right there without ever talking to us. So we've tried to make it easier as an agency and as agents developing software to accommodate people here in the 21st century.
What would you say is the general percentage of folks who do have insurance on livestock? And then what seem to be the most common things they're insuring them for?
Yeah, so it's a pretty low percentage. Still, 5 years ago, we were probably 1 to 2% of the market, and now it's over 10% and growing. So producers are being more educated on those products. And so what they're covering mostly, it depends on what state you're in, but a lot of cow-calf operations, if they're selling feeder cattle once a year, they'd like to guarantee themselves a price. Like, prices are really high right now. So if I've got calves that are on the ground, I know how many steers I have, I know how many heifers I have, I can insure them based on those numbers and get a future price instead of going to the Board of Trade. And then when it comes to feed yards, of course, we're insuring fed cattle, and then on the swine side, obviously that finished product there. There's one other product if you finish cattle that you can purchase, and it's called LGM. That's a crush margin. So that's live cattle minus the cost of corn and minus the cost of the feeder calf. That product there is a little bit more complicated, but it kind of insures your margin instead of just the revenue. So if corn goes up on you, you're able to offset that with this product, But in the same way with feeder cattle go up, that's also going to affect that margin, that customer's margin and then live cattle going down. So we use that product obviously exclusively for fed cattle and swine. But on the feeder cattle side, LRP is the way to go. And so you can even insure unborn calves. And so it's based on your typical production. You can do that, or you can insure cattle under 600 pounds, over 600 pounds to 1,000, and then swine obviously up to 260 pound lean weight. That's lean weight. So that's over a 300 pound animal. But you choose the weight, you choose what coverage level you want on a daily basis. And you can secure a price in these high markets. It means a lot.
This obviously is not going to be news to you or probably a lot of the farmers listening in. In fact, most of the farmers listening in. And that would be the idea behind why we do food in the way we do it is because it is something that humans need to eat. And maintaining a stable food system is important. But we also know that also means when you're kind of dependent on how the market works, your margins are going to be your business, and that can change and fluctuate very drastically over the time and lifespan of an animal. So we have to deal with a lot of risk, not only on the producer side, but also, I imagine, on the insurance side. How do you work with risk, and is that something that needs to be spread out, or how is that spread out?
Yeah, so, we look at risk as, we take risks every day on the ag side, whether it be interest rates or whether it be markets, mostly markets. And so, we try to consult with our customers about how do we offset that pricing risk because it's there every day. If you don't do anything, you're still speculating, right? You're speculating in the cash. And you don't, to me, I don't want to be exposed to those market risk. And so these tools offer them a way to offset, put that risk onto somebody else. It's going to cost you a premium to do that, and while keeping your top side open. So we're not going to cap your profit potential. If this market would happen to run on us, we go from 230 to 250 or 275, you're going to get to participate. And it's a way to do it outside of the Board of Trade. A lot of people aren't comfortable with going to a broker, and then some operations are small enough. One contract is more than what they need, or two contracts, or you can't get it quite right. You can insure this stuff by the head. So if you have 35 cows and you want to insure 35 calves, we can do that right on the nose. And so risk, in my mind, can be offset very easily using market tools that are available to you. No different than we do in the crop insurance side. We have revenue protection, with corn and soybean production, and so we're just guaranteeing basically price, not yield, with the livestock products. So we're kind of getting on level playing field, and the USDA has come in and offered us these tools to use for producers to use that are simple and affordable. So
new things are often a potential risk or liability for farmers. So when you're speaking to someone in the livestock business, the cattle business, however they are engaged in it, how do you talk about why this might be something good for their operation?
Well, right now with cattle prices as high as they are, it makes a lot of sense in the cattle industry. I'm an ex-banker, and sitting across that desk from that customer, I'm most interested that he stays on the farm. And so it's easy to talk to producers about how do I manage my way through these volatile times, because at some point this market will probably go back into check here at some point. We don't know when. We know we have a record low cattle herd right now, but how do you manage your way through that? And so some can manage it themselves. They're strong enough financially, they can do that. But if we're borrowing money, I think all of the people that are involved in that are going to be more comfortable, including the banker, if there is some kind of guarantee. One of the challenges we've had is educating bankers as well as what's available to these livestock producers. A lot of bankers have exited the cattle business. They really aren't that interested because of the risk. And so I feel like it's, using these products is going to help everybody. And I think it'll open up other avenues of capital through, if banks are interested and they can understand the products and bank boards and regulators understand what's available out there. Everybody is playing a little safer. We're playing with a lot of dollars right now on these calves. And so it's very, very important that we use these products to secure our future.
So if there's someone who listened to this, heard about it, how would they have an opportunity to learn more about this type of livestock insurance and how there may be opportunities with the livestock risk protection program and many other avenues of this? How could they learn more about that? How could they contact you or find what you do?
Yeah, so they can contact me in a number of different ways, by email or by phone, or going straight to our website and getting the number there. Looking at our portal. It's at portal.stockguard.io. They can go in there very easily and then contact me or Jordan Morris. He's the other salesman for Stockguard. But and then we can have that conversation. Sometimes reading about it, you can go to the USDA website. They have a lot of information on LRP and LGM there. And sometimes it's just easier to kind of talk through it. There's a lot of details about those programs that maybe you don't even need to know, that we can explain the program very simply. Our portal, like I said, you can go in there, you can quote the daily rates in there, and you can actually order on there and then track all of your positions. That's free to our customers. And so that's something that it helps give you a visual of what LRP is, and especially the LGM program. We have some analysis tools in there as well. We can kind of talk through there. We can do Zoom meetings or phone calls, whatever's needed, or on-farm visits.
One more time, the name of your business there?
Yeah, it's called Stockguard.
Stockguard. You can visit that online. Reach out. Tony Latcham is the name. He is with Stockguard. He also does stuff with the Blue Ribbon Foundation here at the Iowa State Fair. Tony, thank you so much for joining me on Farm Here Daily.
Yeah, thanks, David. It's been fun.
This is Farm Here Daily. Before we wrap up the show for the week, we're going to take a look at the marketplace.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. From streaming to shopping, Prime helps you get more out of your passions. So whether you're a fan of true crime or prefer a nail-biting novel from time to time, with services like Prime Video, Amazon Music, and fast free delivery, Prime makes it easy to get more out of whatever you're into or getting into. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to learn more.
And there was some green on the board at the end of Friday's closing session. September corn, 8 3/4 cents higher, 3.83 3/4, with December rising 8 cents at 4.05 1/4. Soybeans in September, 14 3/4 more at 10.22 1/4, with November an increase of 14 cents at 10.42 1/2. Soybean meal in September, 90 cents a ton in the red, $283.40. September wheat up 3 cents, 506.5. December rising 2.5 cents at 527. In the livestock market close for Friday, October live cattle up $3.82 a hundredweight, $230.65. December, $3.77 higher, $232.17. Feeder cattle in September, $6.32 more, $347.35, with October an increase of $5.45, $345.90. Lean hogs in October, 97 cents higher, $90.10, with December jumping $1.40 at $83.02 a hundredweight. That is the Friday market close. This is Farm Year Daily. This is Farm Year Daily, a Field Forward podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Again, in order to continue to produce this type of local content, we would love to have you join our community. So please follow the podcast as well as our social media channels at Field Forward Pod. You can also find me on social media at Geiger Reports, as well as WHO TV Channel 13 every weekday in their morning and noon hour programs. Again, I am your host, David Geiger, and I'll be back again on Monday. Have a good weekend, everybody.